Good evening, everybody. It is 8 p.m, just after 8 p.m. actually. I'm a few minutes late on a Thursday evening here in the UK. Let me just check and make 100% sure that this is live. And yes, I can see it is live. If you're watching live, if you're in the chat, say hello. Let me know who's out there. Let me know who's watching. Let's get this going. So yeah, Thursday night here. It has been a crazy week in boxing. We've had pound-for-pound superstar Guillermo Rigondeaux announce a fight, my apologies, against none other than the UK's own Jazza Dickens. Who would have thought Guillermo Rigondeaux would be fighting Jazza Dickens? Who would have thought Guillermo Rigondeaux would be working with Frank Warren? Who would have thought Guillermo Rigondeaux would be fighting on a Derry Matthews undercard? But that's not even the half of it. I mean, this news kind of paled in comparison to the news of the week that Amir Khan would be fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez. You know, Amir Khan will be fighting for the lineal middleweight championship of the world. It's been a week of complete and utter surprises. We've had Tyson Fury today suggesting that he may retire from the sport and isn't 100% convinced he's going to fight in a Vladimir Klitschko fight. We've still got probably an announcement coming tomorrow about Anthony Joshua's next opponent, which people suspect is likely to be Bermane Stiverne or Carlos Takam, perhaps. And, you know, that's not the end of it either. I see announcements due on David Haye's next moves. You know, a lot of people speculated that David Haye's next opponents are likely to be Brian Jennings or Malik Scott or someone of that note. So a real busy time in boxing this week. Lots of amazing news breaking from all angles, and the floor is here tonight to discuss all of that. Before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping, just to give you a few updates. First and foremost, I've been doing this phone-in show weekly on Saturdays at around lunchtime. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to change that due to other commitments, but I am proposing to do this show Thursday night. Every Thursday at 8 p.m, we will go live, we'll do a live broadcast, and we'll allow people to phone in via Skype. So that's the bit of housekeeping there. If people have checked out my interview with Ian John Lewis, I've got a copy of Ian John Lewis's autobiography, which he has very kindly signed, and agreed with Ian that we're going to give it away on the channel. So do stay tuned. We'll put a video up in the next week or so with regard to how you can get your hands on that if that would be of interest. I've also got one or two signed bloods I'm going to give away on the channel in the next week or two. So if you're interested in your boxing competitions and your freebies, do keep your eyes peeled and stay tuned. But yeah, busy time in boxing. I've been making a lot of videos. I have got a very big interview tomorrow morning that I hope goes ahead with a top 20 welterweight, and that'll be up on the channel tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, if I can go through with that. But we've agreed that I'll be calling that person tomorrow. So let me hope I can get that nailed. Hopefully that will be a big win for the channel. But yeah, as always with this show, I'm not going to keep things too rigid. Obviously, I want to discuss the main topics. I want to discuss Khan Canelo. I want to discuss Rigondeaux. I want to discuss Tyson Fury. I want to discuss Anthony Joshua. But we're also going to keep it flexible. You know, I'm not going to be too rigid with what we are discussing here. So, yeah, let's get it started. For guys who are new to this format, who haven't seen it before, we fully encourage Skype calls. You know, it makes it much more interesting, as I always say, if there's a bit of interaction here, and you know, we can get a bit of back and forth rather than just me ranting. So yeah, if you are interested in calling in, I'm going to get Skype up and running now. Please add me on Skype. My name on Skype is very simple. It's boxing.gossip. If you call in, you know, feel free to call in throughout the course of the live show. We'll get you straight involved, straight on, and yeah, hopefully we can get some interaction going back and forth. So yeah, I've got Skype uploaded right now. Just had 2 new people add me on Skype. So yeah, don't be shy, add me on Skype, boxing.gossip, and call in whenever you're ready. We'll just get you in on the phone. You won't appear on the screen. But yeah, call in on the phone and we can have a bit of back and forth about all this week's boxing topics. So in the absence of any callers so far, and if you do want to call in, let me go to the chat and let's see who's in the room. We've got TBE Seth, we've got Eddie Hearns, we've got Terence Talbot, Bruce Wayne, Bart, Mike, Gaz. Hope everyone's well, guys. Mike says, hi. Fury says 3 more fights. Klitschko Wilder and Anthony Joshua. I just watched that now, Mike, on his IFL TV interview. I saw the exact same thing. He was also talking earlier today. There was a BBC News article saying he may never fight again. He's happy to sail off into the sunset. You know, Tyson Fury said this a lot of times in his career. And, you know, he's retired once or twice before, even though he's still a relatively young heavyweight. So I believe it when I see it. Part of me thinks he'll have to have mandatories and that side of things. I'm not 100% sure the Wilder fight is going to be that easy to make either, or the Anthony Joshua fight. There's going to be a lot of politics, a lot of negotiation involved there. And to be honest, you guys know I'm a huge Tyson Fury fan. Him beating Vladimir Klitschko, especially if it's going to be abroad again, is far from a certainty. So, you know, we shall see. Gaz, I'd like to have some conversations with fanboy stories. I've seen a cracker earlier. Go on then, Gaz. Let us know the cracker. Just turn my phone on silent so I'm not disturbed. TBE Seth, Fury confirmed. Hay is not going to be in the mix. Yes. Mike says Thursday evenings are better than Saturdays. Hope so. Hazo says, hey, hello. Mike says Fury's phone chat with Coogan was quality. Champion's very grounded and knowledgeable. Terence says the welterweight interview might be with Canelo. I wish. We're not at that level yet, Terence. But you know, if you guys keep tuning in, maybe one day we'll get there. Troy says, just imagine if Rigo lost. It's unthinkable, isn't it? Sam says, who do you think Kell should fight after Bizier? Well, I watched an interview with Eddie Hearn yesterday, and Eddie Hearn summed it up really. You've got the Pacquiao Bradley winner, you've got the Furman Porter winner, or you've got Danny Garcia. If he can't get one of those 3 fights for the summer, Kell Brook has got 2 options. Option 1 is move up in weight class. Option 2 is leave Eddie Hearn. He can't continue doing what he's doing. It's damaging his career. Yeah, I saw that TV Seth about his car breakdown. Very, very funny. Gaz says, according to a Hay fanboy, Hay is going to destroy the heavyweight division in the next few months and clean up. But he couldn't do it 3.5 years ago. Yeah, there's a lot of those out there, isn't there, Gaz? You've got to laugh or else you'd cry. TB Seth says Kell Brook might do a triple G at 155 catchweight off the Bizier. Bloody hell. A lot of ambitions there. Jonathan says, give me a shout out. Hello, Jonathan. Thanks for getting involved. Nathan Cleverly looking to face Bramer. Yeah, I'm a huge Nathan Cleverly fan. As you guys know, the Bramer fight is a very good fight if he can get it. Yusuf says, Tyson said in his latest interview that he only has 3 fights left. Yeah, we've had that one. Discussed that. Matt says, give us an update on the personal trainer, the next heavyweight champion of the world. Well, I won't say too much because I'm going to get him back on the channel very, very, very soon. What I will say is that he has had a few more white collar fights and he has won all of them. I didn't have the chance to go to all of them, but I've been to one of them, and yeah, I mean, he's doing all right for himself. It's kind of weird because he wants to be heavyweight champion of the world, but at the same time, he doesn't want me to give away his name on the channel because he wants to remain anonymous. So I think he's going to have to work that out if he's serious about being the next heavyweight champion of the world. He might need to learn how to promote himself a bit more, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Eddie Hearn says, calm Canelo. Come on, man. It's clearly a duck. It couldn't be more of a duck if I had beaten Quad. Gaz says he thinks Brook is a death wish if he wants Triple G. Yeah, I like Kell Brook, but Triple G would be too much of a step up from Frankie Gavin, wouldn't he? Guys, if you're watching and you want to get involved, give me a call on Skype. Lines are very, very free. Nobody's calling in. So add me on Skype, boxing.gossip. I'll get you online straight away. Just call in, voice call, and we'll get you straight on. It says I've got 40 people watching. If you're watching this live, do click the thumbs up button, help support the channel. Yeah, it'd be nice if we could get a few likes in this video to help spread the word a bit. So let's go into the first topic of tonight, which is Amir Khan versus Canelo. Now, I've already done several videos on this. So I'm not going to go into it in too much detail. What I will say is I ran a poll on my Twitter, and look, I don't run the most successful Twitter account in the world. I'm not saying that my Twitter account necessarily represents the boxing public, but we had a very, very, funnily enough, an 80-20 split, the same split Khan was asking for in the Kell Brook fight, but 80-20 split this time in Saul Canelo Alvarez's favour. We think, well, when I say we, I mean the people on my Twitter, 80% of them think that Canelo Alvarez is going to win. And I've heard a lot of discussion about this fight. A lot of people are backing Khan here. They think that Khan can outmaneuver Alvarez. They think Khan can outpoint Alvarez. And I don't disagree that Khan can cause Canelo problems for several rounds. But for me, it's kind of simple here. Khan is not a hard guy to walk down. He's not a hard guy to push back against the ropes. He's not a hard guy to get in on and, exert your will on. I mean, look at Chris Algieri, look at Lamont Peterson. These guys are much smaller, weaker. And actually, these guys are lower level fighters than Saul Canelo Alvarez. They'll be coming forward at 155 pounds. But as we know in the ring, it'll be a light heavyweight, maybe even a cruiserweight on the night. So for me, I just think with how easy it is to walk Khan down, with how easy it is to put Khan's back against the ropes and unload on him, hit him to the body, hit him from all angles, I can see the argument that Khan, causes him problems in terms of boxing brain, but I just cannot really see the argument that Khan's going to be able to keep Canelo off him for 12 rounds. And, Canelo only needs to get on him for a few seconds for me and this fight's over. Canelo's a legit hard puncher at middleweight. Khan, he doesn't have an iron jaw at light welterweight. Let's see how he does taking punches from a guy who's going to be 13 stone on the night. Let's go to the chat. Jonathan, Fury is playing the media superbly, telling Sky he might not fight again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Jonathan. Maybe it's a bit of a mind game after Vladimir Klitschko pulled out on him. Very, very possible. Sam says, Furman, Porter rematch or Garcia. Yeah, order sort of Pac Bradley winner. Mr. Egod says, Kell should not be underrated. No, he shouldn't be underrated, but we need the big fights for him. Alex says, the story about Vlad Klitschko versus Fury on a private yacht with tickets being $1 million has to be the most mental thing I've ever heard. Yeah, it won't happen. It seems that these sort of bizarre stories come up with big fights now. There's all of these eccentric billionaires wanting to put fights on in the UAE, in the Middle East, in Russia, and, I don't know. I like the idea of it being a particularly rough weather that day and like the boat sort of bobbing up and down and Tyson Fury and Klitschko having to deal with that. 791 Mike, if Khan and Brook want to enter the middleweight scene, how would they fare against Billy Joe Saunders? Did you hear about Billy Joe Saunders getting caught with some guy's wife? Mike, I didn't hear about him getting caught with some guy's wife. We got Sam calling in. No, but I didn't hear about that. And I can't say it's true. Hi, Sam.
All right, mate, how's it going?
Yeah, not so bad, mate. How are you getting on?
Great, mate, great. Oh, man.
Big week.
I have no idea where I am with this Khan Canelo thing, man.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's mad. I mean, initially, I don't know where I saw the news. I think I saw it on Facebook, but I was just, my first reaction was to laugh my head off.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, because I was very against this Mayweather fight for Amir Khan, because I didn't think he deserved that. I didn't think he was big enough of a draw to warrant it. I mean, but to be honest, I mean, Mayweather destroyed this guy. So if the people out there saying that Khan was going to cause him problems, maybe beat him, well, I don't think these people have any right to complain, because obviously Khan's going to do a number on Canelo because he was going to give Mayweather a better fight than Canelo. So, it makes sense from that regard. But I think when they fight on fight night, I mean, it's going to be a one-round job, I think, for Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, that's very, it's funny enough, actually. The old phrase is styles make fights, and I actually would give Khan a better chance against Floyd than against Canelo, because I just think that, I'm not saying Floyd isn't as good as Canelo. Clearly, he's a better fighter than Canelo, but I just don't think Khan is going to be able to deal with the size and strength.
I mean, I kind of take objection to, when, fight fans use the phrase styles make fights, because to me it's just a, lazy way of getting out of a silly argument, really. Having said that, it is true.
Yeah, it's an annoying one, isn't it?
Make fights.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my thing, though, right? Chris Algieri and Lamont Pearson are, no disrespect to them, to put it overly simplistically, they're both runners. Right?
Yeah.
Would you say that would be accurate?
Yeah, I'd say Chris Algieri is a runner. I think Lamont Peterson is slightly more versatile, but at his best, he's a runner, yeah.
Sure. Right. So, runner as in not come forward, as in not pressure fighters. Yeah, when they put Amir Khan under pressure, I mean, Amir Khan, I thought he barely pulled the fight out against Algieri. And Lamont Peterson managed to get the nod against Khan in their fights. So, how basically back foot specialists were able to put pressure on Khan, get him to basically unravel and win the fight and nearly win the fight. What's Canelo, who is a front foot guy primarily, what's he gonna do? And a power puncher, might I add.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's just, for me, Khan is like, he's not a defensive fighter like Mayweather is. He's an offensive fighter, isn't he?
No, I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw Amir Khan slip a punch. You know what I mean? To me, his defense is, guys go in there with him, and they see Khan's reach, and they see his speed, and it's it's like the deer in headlights.
Yeah.
That's his thing. And I know he's kind of done this new move where he puts his hand on the guy's shoulder and then kind of spins them around, and then he'll go to the center of the ring, which is kind of seemingly the main thing that Virgil Hunter's done with him. To me, a great defensive fighter, or a guy with great boxing skills, is a guy who doesn't have to throw, who can throw less punches in a round than his opponent and still win the round. And he can't do that. He's a volume guy. Yeah,
and I just think, I've noticed a decrease in his punching power as he's moved up in weight. He's not hurting guys like he used to, and part of me thinks he's going to be standing there doing all of this pretty outside 1-2s from range. So I just think Canelo is just going to walk through it, to be honest, and find himself powering into Khan and putting him on his back foot straight away, for me.
I remember seeing, and I was kind of a bit of a Canelo skeptic for a while, but one image kind of really stuck out in my mind when HBO were, hyping him up to be the next, the next big thing out in Mexico. And I remember when Kermit Cintron landed his right hand flush on Canelo's chin, and he just kind of grimaced. He just kind of snarled at him and said, and kind of waved and said, "Do it again." I was like, whoa, this is Kermit Cintron. I mean, you think about some of the great, not that Cintron's a great fighter, but you think about, the one-punch knockout guys that we've had in the last, decade or so. I mean, he's got to be up there. His knockout of Walter Matisse was pretty brutal. He has serious power. So, obviously, Canelo's got serious chin,
Absolutely, yeah. Amir Khan's not going to be able to hurt Canelo, is he?
No, he's no Cintron in terms of power, or Miguel Cotto for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Canelo's used to bigger men, stronger men, harder punchers. Khan's only option is speed, isn't it? But I just don't think stylistically it's going to be enough for him in this fight.
And Canelo's fast as well. You see some of the flurries and the combinations that he's throwing against Angulo on some of the counters that he was doing against Cotto. He does have very fast hands, it must be said.
Yeah, he's got. I think with Canelo, he's got good timing. He's got a good boxing brain. He knows which punch to throw at the right time. I think Khan will have a big advantage in foot speed. You know, he moves around. He's a lot more of an athletic mover than Canelo, for my money.
But does he have? Do you think he has you know, educated feet in terms of like how he uses his feet? Because he seems, you know, it seems to be, you know, he seems to find himself on the ropes a lot.
Yeah, I think he's got educated footwork when he's coming forward, when he's being offensive. I don't think he's got educated footwork going back, and I think he's going to be going back a lot in this fight. So I think that's where the problem's going to lie for him, to be honest. Yeah, it's going to be tough, and it's yeah, it's a tough fight for Kong, but it is one where it's a high risk reward ratio. You know, if he loses, it isn't a disaster unless he gets, you know, knocked out horribly or something, which might happen. But you know, if he just, unless he doesn't, if he can avoid taking too much of a beating, then the Kell Brook fight is still there afterwards, I guess, and that's big money, I guess.
Well, it's interesting because I remember seeing a Hartman video a few months ago, and he brought up a point where he mentioned Amir Khan when he turned professional. I think he was 18 or 19 at the time, that he didn't want to fight past the age of 27.
Yeah.
So is this it? Do you reckon? Do you think he'll want to go on and fight in you know, 20 more world title fights and go to the Hall of Fame? Do you think he's just looking for the big money, and then, you know, he's going to do whatever he's going to do with the rest of his life?
That's a really difficult question. I mean, Khan has always struck me as someone who, you know, I don't think he's totally motivated by boxing. You know, he's got a lot of interests outside of the ring. I think a number of business interests, charitable interests, and you know, his recent activity and the fact that he's allowed himself to be so inactive does kind of suggest to me that he's not desperate to build a career where he has to have 50 fights and become a Hall of Famer in the same way that a guy like Kell Brook is. Having said that, I guess Amir Khan's resume is so far ahead, especially with this fight, that, you know, if he were to win, it would certainly propel him to those heights. But no, I think you raise a fair point, and I don't think Amir Khan is necessarily someone who wants to be in boxing for the next 10 years, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, you know, because the thing is, he hates Kell Brook. He really does not like, you know, Kell Brook on a personal level, does he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's determined not to. I mean, he knows in the back of his mind that he doesn't have a chin. And Kell Brook's a big puncher, and so is Canelo. So I think he can. He can. You know, when his career is all said and done, I think he can. You know, not have as many regrets about being knocked out by Canelo compared to being knocked out by you know, his nemesis, so to speak. You know.
Yeah, I guess it's similar money. I still think the Brook fight would probably have been bigger money, but I guess it's not going to be miles apart, is it?
Because Canelo's going to be, I think it'll be maybe 90-10, I think, in Canelo's favour in the end. Do you reckon?
In terms of likelihood of winning the fight?
No, in terms of the money.
Oh no, I think you're off there, Sam. I think it would be very different to that. I mean, Canelo, let's not forget, he took relatively small money against Cotto, didn't he? I think it was 70-30 split in Cotto's favour or something like that. I mean, I would guess that as much as Khan wanted this fight, Canelo also wanted this fight, because, you know, Canelo, I think the other fights he was looking at were the likes of Liam Smith, and, you know, obviously he probably didn't want the Golovkin fight. So I think he was incentivized to get that made. I would guess that Canelo is the A side, but I would guess this is probably more like 60-40, 65-35. And I reckon Khan will be able to negotiate a huge pay-per-view uplift, especially for like pay-per-view sales in the UK, and maybe Canelo will get pay-per-view sales in Mexico. But you know, apparently it's going to do 20,000 tickets. It's going to do, you know, a lot of people are saying it could do 1 million pay-per-view buys, you know, and pay-per-view in the States is, you know, $60, $70, $80 a go. It's a lot more expensive than here. So I do reckon it's a big, big fight still.
The thing is, though, I mean, you could put Canelo in the ring with a stack of onions and it'll probably do 1 million pay-per-view buys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I heard someone, I think 78 Sports TV made a video about this. You know, Khan had that unification fight with Danny Garcia. I mean, this was a couple of years ago now. I do realize that, but apparently Khan got 900,000. Garcia got about 500,000.
Right.
The gate was about 400,000. So I don't know if to be honest, I think Khan's all this that's made about Khan's profile on the States, I think it's a bit of a myth, to be honest. I mean, I think I read somewhere that only 1 million people watched his fight with Chris Algieri, and that was free.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know. But I mean, I don't know how serious Eddie Hearn was about this £10 million offer. So, you know,
I think what Eddie was saying is he valued the purses at around 12.5 million, and Amir Khan, yeah, the total value, and
right.
and that kind of ties in with the numbers we've seen with Frost Groves, and he was thinking, well, Amir was after an 80k split, so in effect Amir was after 10 million, but Eddie was saying no, it would have to be 60-40, which I guess would be 7.5 to Khan, 5 to Brook. Yeah, so it's that sort of money. You know, there's other things to factor in though. I mean, I'm just thinking the pay-per-views here, right? I think foreseeably it's hard because of the time of day this will be on, but I think that this could do 250,000 pay-per-view buys just in the UK, and you know, that's if Tyson Fury is on the same night, then it's different. But if Tyson Fury is not on the same night, it could potentially do 250,000 pay-per-view buys in the UK. Then you've got the US pay-per-views, which I think could be 600, 700, 800,000. And then I don't know how it works in Mexico. Maybe you've got the pay-per-view in Mexico as well. And I don't know if Amir Khan will bring in additional additional money from Asia and the Middle East, and you know, that side of things. He's got a big following over there, so it really is a global fight, I reckon. So it could do huge money, I reckon.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I remember hearing around the time when you know, David Hay was before the Klitschko fight, when they were sort of negotiating. I mean, I heard the way it was going to work was that Hay was going to get the proceeds for the pay-per-view in the UK, and Klitschko was going to get the proceeds of the pay-per-view in Europe, and then they were going to split the American money. So, you know, I don't know, but I suppose you make a good money about. Sorry, I suppose you make a good point about the appeal of it in Asia. There's quite a bit of money out there, isn't there? So
yeah, I mean, I don't know how it works out there if they do pay-per-view boxing or not, but I guess this is the kind of fight where you could launch something like that, perhaps, if they're not doing it already.
Yeah,
but
I think Box Nation are trying to do something in India.
Yeah,
Ginger Singh. I think they're going to do some shows out there. So
yeah, it'd be really interesting to see if the Tyson Fury Klitschko fight's on the same night. Because if it is, it's going to be like one of the biggest pay-per-views ever. If Sky Box Office can get both, and you know, I assume they'll have to do like sort of split arena pay-per-view and price it at an all-time high. You know, £25-30, because the budget is going to need to be massive to pay the purses for all 4 of those fighters, and you know, to secure the rights that will come as a result. But yeah, Sam, I must crack on, mate. But thank you very, very much for calling in.
All right, cheers, pleasure, mate.
Cheers, catch you soon. Cheers, mate. Bye. So thanks very, very much to Sam for calling in. I could see I'd actually missed another call when I was speaking to Sam there. So if that was you who called in on Skype, please do give us a call back. We'll get you straight on. But yeah, I always think it's more interesting to have a bit of back and forth and hear someone else's opinion. So yeah, hopefully we can get some more callers in, and it's easier to do the calls on a weekday night for you guys. But yeah, we're up to somewhere between 45 and 50 people watching, which is great news indeed. If you're one of those who's tuning in, please do say hello in the chat. Please do click the thumbs up button and help. That will help spread the word here. So yeah, that would help me out if you can click that if you're watching. I'm just looking into the chat now. A lot of people talking about the pay-per-view. Gaz has said, Gaz raised an interesting point. I won't go back over all of the chat that I've missed when I was on the phone to Sam there. But Gaz says, to be frank, 5 million is probably Kell Brook's biggest ever payday. That is Kell Brook's biggest ever payday by miles. I would be surprised if Kell Brook has ever had a £1 million payday before. You know, I really would. I don't think he got huge money for the Sean Porter fight. And I'd heard rumours that his other purses, you know, Frankie Gavin and etc., were more like 300 grand, 400 grand, that sort of money. So, yeah, I mean, Kell Brook needs this more than Amir Khan, because Amir Khan, you know, can clearly get the 7-figure paydays with Danny Garcia, with Kell Brook, now with Canelo Alvarez. So, yeah, I mean, whilst it's a fight I want to see, Khan does hold the cards in those sets. Tom says, who will Brooks beat Summer fight me with? Well, as I say, it's got to be the Porter Thurman winner, or Garcia, or the Pacquiao Bradley winner. And if it's none of those, he's going to have to change weight class or change promotional team and go over to the US, because he's not getting the fights at the minute. Sam is asking, AJ versus Jennings, what happens? I'd probably side with AJ. You know, Jennings is a smaller heavyweight coming off back-to-back losses. What would be interesting is if Jennings fought the complete opposite fight that he fought to in the Lewis Ortiz matchup. If he fights like that, he probably gets knocked out. That's not his style. I would like to see Brian Jennings on his back foot, using his athleticism, using his movement, trying to cause Joshua the problems he caused Klitschko. I'd like to see him take Joshua late. You know, Jennings has got a good chin. He's got a great set of legs for a heavyweight. I'd like to see him drag Joshua to 12 painful, frustrating rounds and see what Joshua's stamina is like over 12 rounds. But if Jennings stands in front of Joshua, you know, Jennings doesn't have much of a punch himself. He's a smaller guy. He probably gets knocked out. Alex says, everyone's tied down that I can think of. Kell Brook is fucked unless he moves up or fights a B to C grade man. Yeah, I mean, potentially the Porter Thurman winner would be ready for the summer. Potentially the Pacquiao Bradley winner would be ready for the summer, I guess. But yeah, you know, Danny Garcia doesn't have a fight at present. It's hard to see one of those guys coming over, though. Kell Brook's going to have to go to the States. Kiwi 007 says AJ wins by 5th round KO. I think he wins against Jennings. So I can't keep up with all the chat. It's coming in so quickly. Sam says he thinks Jennings is a tough opponent for AJ. Yeah, it's a big step up. Bart says, Tom, would you be surprised if Huey was announced as Joshua's opponents tomorrow? And after a few introductory opponents, who would you put White against? Yeah, I'd be very surprised. I don't think that Team Fury are playing to Anthony Joshua's timescale. I think they're going their own route with Huey Fury, and I don't think that fight happens yet. I think Huey needs a few big fights on the route. Who would I put Dillian White with? Well, I see this. I think Dillian White's got a few things to work on technically, a few things to work on in terms of his conditioning. I'd like to put him in with durable guys who are going to take him rounds, because that's a key point where he didn't have that experience before the Chisora fight. So, sorry, before the Joshua fight. Who would be the right type of opponents for him after a few comebacks? Dimitrenko, Ustinov, Chisora, maybe a Fraser Quendo, maybe a Dominic Gwynn. You know, these type of tough guys who are going to ask him different questions and test him out a bit. Maybe even Jason Bergman, the guy Joshua fought the other day. That could potentially be an interesting matchup. Sorry, I can just see I got a missed call from Michael. Michael, sorry I missed you. Do call in again if you can, mate. Gaz says AJ versus Ortiz. What round does AJ get a spot? Too early for Joshua so far. You know, Ortiz looks like a real handful. And if Joshua shows the same defensive frailties as last time, he does get taken out early. Escabate says, I love these streams, Tom. Great idea. Thanks very much. Appreciate you tuning in, mate. Terence Talbot, America's all ducking. They won't come to the UK. Oh, sorry. Americans are all ducking. They won't come to the UK. Abstract Beats, Ward is the only one not ducking. Tom says, I don't know why they won't though. They will have dual pay-per-view money and more ticket money. A lot of people will turn out in the UK than in the US. Yeah, I just think the Americans sort of believe that America is the home for boxing, so why leave? Alex says, Joshua's style doesn't look compatible with a 12-round chess match, still very reliant on power. I completely agree, Alex, completely agree. And, you know, that Dillian White fight, people, you know, I know it went 7 rounds, but Dillian White was very worn out, low volume and tired for most of that fight. So that wasn't representative of a truly fought 7-round battle. Bart says, cheers, Tom. He agrees. Kiwi 07, AJ v Jennings would be a good idea when thinking about Ortiz. Yeah. I like Stiverne fight. I think if I had to put my neck on the line, I think it's going to be announced tomorrow. I think it's going to be Stiverne. Tivatap says Brook will get chubby again, getting himself into weight for Khan at super middleweight final eliminator. Yeah. Tyson Fury made a funny point today about Frank Bruno's potential return. He said, why should Frank Bruno not return? He's in better state than the heavyweight champion of the world. Canvas Madness, who I believe, in fact I know, is Rob, says, what's up, Thomas? Only my mother calls me Thomas, but yeah, I'm good, Rob. You're gonna grace the fans with your presence today and call in, Rob. Sam says, what is that? Sorry, I've just missed out on what Sam said there. Tom, I saw you at the Joshua White weigh-in. Yeah, I was there, Sam. You should have come and said hello, mate. Yeah, I was loitering around causing trouble, actually. So, yeah, you should have said hello. Mark Knoll, did I speak to you, Sam, or not? Mark Knoll, what's everyone had for tea tonight? I had steak tonight. I went to push the boat up. Hello, Tivatap. Thanks for joining. Ryan, who do you think Garcia will fight next? I don't actually know, to be honest. Wouldn't surprise me if it was like I don't know what the situation is if he's on PBC. Maybe even the Furman Porter winner. That'd be a good fight. Kiwi 07, half of New Zealand would pay pay-per-view to see Anthony Joshua Parker. Yeah. TBE Seth, bro, I think you need a boxing gossip poster behind you. Do you know what, TBE Seth? I designed one over Christmas. And what it was is I showed it to a few people, and the poster I had designed, bizarrely, was exactly the same as another boxing YouTube channel. And it's a boxing YouTube channel I hadn't actually heard of until people started pointing out to me. So it's just complete fluke, you know, but it's a channel that's a lot bigger than mine. And I thought people wouldn't like it if I put up a logo that was very similar. So back to the drawing board on that one. But yeah, I agree. I'm renting this place, by the way. This wallpaper wasn't my choice. Abstract Beats, who wins, Ward or Kovalev? Toughest fight out there for me to pick. I really don't know an easy answer to that, but I'd probably go more with Kovalev at present. He just looks unstoppable. Gaz says, I don't think AJ would last as long as Jennings. Jennings managed to move around, and I don't think AJ's movement is any good. Yeah, I think the movement from Jennings will be the key. He needs to change his tactics from what he did in the Lewis Ortiz fight. Dragon Rider, if Khan won't fight Brook, maybe Brook should put pressure on by fighting Khan's previous opponents. Yeah, that works well. Getting some chat about the wallpaper. Thanks, Eddie. Oh, Troy says the AJ announcement is Tuesday. I thought it'd be next Friday. Esco Beat says, you've been watching the IFL TV videos recently, mate? Yes, I have. Stay tuned to the channel. Lots of good coverage coming from them. Terence, could Joshua fight Parker in New Zealand? No way. No way. Eddie Heard isn't travelling over there. Canvas Madness, you heard about the Wilder rumours, mate. Are you suggesting Wilder's going to drop the belt? Is that what you mean, Rob? Possibly. Escabete says, oh yeah, boxing gossip poster would be awesome. Well, I'll go back to the drawing board. Kiwi says, topless for viewers who like that sort of thing. Yeah, do you know what? I'm not in the worst shape at present because I'm training for a half marathon. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, it's funny. I was going through my, I don't know if any of you guys have YouTube channels, but you get quite sophisticated analytics. And bizarrely, I've got 6% female viewership. So I was teasing Mrs. Gossip that 6% of my views came from women. And we delved into it a bit deeper. And it's really bizarre, but there seems to be a hardcore of like 20 to 30 women in Sweden who tune in regularly, which is amazing. But yeah, if we've got any Swedish women who are watching the show live, let us know, because Mrs. Gossip wants to know why you're tuning in. Sam says, no, I didn't speak to you, Tom. I should have come and said hello. Yeah, well, this is the thing. This is why it's a bit awkward for me at these kind of things. Because I don't know who anyone is, but you guys most likely recognise me because I'm on the camera. So yeah, but be nice to meet people, definitely. Ryan says, just watching Fury now. You should have your own show. Thanks very much, Ryan. This will be my own show for now, but who knows where it'll go. TB says, I think Wingy needs to call in. Oh, big Wingy fan, big Wingy fan. Terence says, you ducked reading out my full comment. You're absolutely right, Terence. I did. It was a calculated duck as well, mate. Ryan says, you have great analysis of everyone in boxing. That's very, very kind of you, Ryan. Thanks very much. Let's have a look. Rob says, I don't see him doing it, to be honest, but it makes sense. Yeah, apparently Wilder's got the WBC belt tattooed on him, so it's hard to see him dropping it, but you never know. Escabete says, nothing wrong with women watching boxing. Absolutely. No, the more the merrier. I'll be honest with you, I was just amazed that, you know, people tuned into him, women tuned in to hear my thoughts on boxing. You know, it just didn't occur to me, really. My history in boxing is talking to my uncle, talking to my brother, talking to my father, talking with my groups of mates. You know, I've never had a conversation with a woman about boxing, so it was new to me in that sense. So I was pleasantly surprised that I've got the female viewers who tune in every now and then. Kiwi 07 says, has Terence Tolbert ever heard of the All Blacks? Does he not know that this little country are world leaders in sport? Oh, Terence is he loves it. He loves the banter. Sam says, opinion on Chisora White. Real tough fight to call. I thought Dillian White performed quite poorly in the last fight, actually. You know, I thought his conditioning was very poor, and Chisora is a tough guy who can go rounds. So I think White would really need to have a few good comeback fights, have some learning fights against tough opponents and go rounds. They're similar fighters. White jabs a bit more, White carries a bit more power, but Chisora is probably more experienced and has a better record of going late in fights. So I'd see it as a real 50-50. Dillian White has the higher upside if he comes back and does well. Eddie Hearn says he likes my analysis and insight. He disagrees with some of it, but top draw stuff. Sky Sports or Box Nation should come knocking. Well, that's very kind of you, Eddie Hearns. Why don't you offer me a job at a matchroom then? Swahila says it's going to be AJ versus Takam. Yeah, that's another one that's heavily rumoured. Takam's a decent fighter. You know, I know certain people don't like him, but I think he's very good, very, very good. Canvas Madness, how do I ring in? Skype? Yeah, just get me. I think you're on my Skype, Rob, boxing.gossip, so just call in. Ryan says, would I ever consider running a channel on IFL TV and do videos and interviews? Yeah, I'd like to do stuff like that. I'm planning to do more stuff like that in the new year. But obviously it's a bit difficult. If you're interviewing fighters, it's hard to express opinions and to criticize fighters. Like, you know, I sometimes do in my videos. So, yeah. Beowulf Boxing did his first YouTube video this week. I have a new appreciation for the dedication you put into this channel, mate. Well done. Oh, well, thank you very much. Beowulf Boxing, I will try and check out your channel after this. Boxing fans who are watching, give him a look. There's a lot of banter about the New Zealanders going back and forth. Escobete says, maybe they fancy you, Tom. I think he's talking about the woman viewers. Soon we'll be calling you the sex symbol of boxing gossip. Very charitable, very charitable. Alex says, Royal Rumble between the promoters, Mick Hennessy wins. Yeah, it'd be hard to chuck him over the top rope, wouldn't it? But yeah, so we've been running now for about 50 minutes. So I think it's time to get another caller on the line. We've got 56 people watching, so surely some of you fancy a call in. Rob is threatening to call in, but you know, whether he's actually got the minerals to do it, I don't know. But yeah, I've got quite a few people on Skype. So if you're watching on Skype, do add me, boxing.gossip. If you're already on my Skype, just call in. We'll get you straight online. Ryan says, keep it up. I always tune in. Fury lives near me, and I'll make sure he checks this out. Well, Tyson Fury is one of the biggest fighters out there, so that'd be great. Craig Devaney says, ignored. Well, Craig, I don't know if you mean that I've ignored one of your comments. I'm not doing it on purpose, honestly. I've just really struggled to keep up with the flow. There's been too many comments coming in, and I want to keep it rolling. So if you send a message, write it again, and I'll make sure I answered it. Curtis Jones, just joining, regular viewer. What do I think about the Klitschko Fury Dubai rumours? Don't think it's likely to happen, Curtis. These Dubai rumours often come up in the really, really big fights. You know, there's always some sort of entrepreneur out there who wants to stage them for massive, massive money, but they never seem to come into fruition. Ryan is good friends with Isaac Lowe. Big fan of Isaac Lowe. Bright future ahead of him. Craig, do you feel people with less knowledge than Jets call in? Long-time follower, but don't want you asking me a question I don't know the answer to and look like a casual. Absolutely, Craig. Well, I won't give myself praise, but I am not mean to people like that. Look, we can have a bit of a chat. You call in. If you know, you can lead the chat. You can ask me whatever you want. We can have a general chat about Amir Khan or Tyson Fury. I'm very, very happy with any sort of boxing chat. So nothing like that at all from my end. Alex Bussell says he goes to the same gym as Tyson's young brother Tom Fury. Yeah, I've seen Tom Fury. I'm friends with him on Facebook. He is going to be an absolute beast. As Alex points out, he's 16 years old, 6'2" and 15 stone. And Alex, if you see the build on him, and I'm sure you have if you go to the same gym, the guy is going to be a beast. By all accounts, a very good amateur as well. One to watch, definitely. That Fury family is a absolute dynasty within boxing. Kiwi 007, Brown goes down in the third. Can't wait to see another Aussie get his beans. I think Brown's very tough. I don't think Brown's very skilled or very slick or very technically capable, but I think he's very tough. I don't see him getting hurt easily. Escobete, Tom is being mean to Craig because he's saying he's a casual. Escobete saying Tom is more reasonable, mate. Yeah, I'm anyone who watches this channel and wants to join in is a friend of mine. Let's put it that way. Beehive Fireblade says, how do you call in? What you do, add me on Skype. Boxing.gossip is my Skype name. I've got Skype in front of me. Just hit the call in and we'll get you straight on the channel, have a bit of a chat going back and forward. Beowulf Boxing, can you mention that Floyd fought Canelo at 152? Difference to Amir fighting Canelo at 156. Yeah, Amir's fighting him at 155, I think. But yeah, it is a big difference. You know, not only has Canelo come on for that fight, he's had big experiences and he's improved as a fighter. Also, he's going to be less weight drained and he's going to be bigger on the night. Alex is talking about Tom Fury, Tyson's younger brother. Wider structure, freak of nature, Tom Fury. Yeah, he looks real impressive. My only concern is he putting on too much muscle? You know, a 16-year-old kid. Clearly, he's going to make into a heavyweight, but does he want to be that muscular? You know, doesn't he want to be more like a Tyson or a Huey as opposed to an Anthony Joshua? Just in terms of the way he's going to fight and the way he's going to train. Sway Healer, if you had to pick one current fighter to beat Mayweather, who would you choose stylistically? I'm thinking Khan. Yeah, if we're looking at welterweights, I'd pick Khan. I'm not saying I'd pick Khan to beat Mayweather. I'd give him the highest chance. You know, Khan could possibly have quicker hand speed than him, could move better than him. I do think Khan could give Mayweather problems. I think Mayweather's probably unbeatable in the current welterweight division. But yeah, I'd agree with you. I'd give Khan the highest chance, speed and volume, as you say. Just had an ad on Skype from Rob. So Rob, do call in if you're watching. Escabate said, what happened to your caller on hold? Are you still going to talk to him? I didn't have a caller on hold. I had someone who missed-called me. So they're more than welcome to call back. And he says, biggest surprise fighter for 2015. Biggest surprise fighter. I'll have to have a think about that. Rob's just calling in, so I'll speak to Rob and then we'll think about that. Hello, Rob. How you doing?
What's up, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. Rob, I feel like I've known you for years, but we've never actually spoken before.
No, you're right, actually. Yeah, we haven't.
How you doing?
We spoke to you since, like, probably near the start of when you started YouTube, I think.
Yeah, you're one of the early ones to the channel. So you followed me all the way through. How's things? What are your take on the? You're picking Amir Khan, right?
Right now, yeah, I am. I don't know what it is. Just first of all, it's just a feeling originally.
Right.
And then when you analyse it, there's a lot of reasons why he can win. A lot of reasons. Obviously, I'm not stupid. He can get knocked out at any point, but so can anyone, I suppose.
Yeah. Don't you think that he's just a lot more likely to get knocked out moving up in weight?
Well, yeah and no. Sometimes punch resistance is to do with hydration.
Yeah.
Like the fluid on the brain, you know what I mean? If there's not enough, your brain is rocking about it in your skull. it actually makes your punch resistance a lot worse. And that could be another fact, but we don't know if that's the fact at all. But we've always heard that he's struggling at both weight, 140 and 147.
Yeah. Did you see the photo of Khan and Canelo together? They Khan actually looked quite big, I thought.
Yeah, someone posted earlier about if you look on BoxRec, Canelo's a centimetre taller.
Right.
But that's obviously recorded as, I don't know who records it, if it's official, if you don't know if it is, do you? So, but in looking by the photo, unless Khan's got heels on, I'd say Khan's taller.
Yeah. I mean, Khan looks taller, and Khan's like he's not like overly built, but he's got quite a big frame, hasn't he? Like he's got big back, and he looks like a reasonable sized guy next to Canelo, I thought.
Yeah, he's like he's for his weight, he's like quite gangly, but like you said lately, he's like starting to fill out. So obviously that might have contributed to his problem making weight, but he might be a lot like Virgil Hunter said today. I think he said that when he sees him in the gym, he's usually at his best. A lot of trainers say this. They're fighters at their best at a certain weight in the gym.
Yeah.
And then they have to cut down the last 5 pounds or whatever, which takes, takes a bit of it can take a huge edge off you in a lot of ways. Speed, punch resistance, your stamina, etc. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an interesting one. Do you think Khan's got any chance of hurting him, or do you think it's just over 12 rounds?
Yeah, it's most likely to be a 12-rounder. He could possibly hurt him to the body. It depends how Canelo's taking the weight off, or how he puts it on.
Yeah,
I suppose, because everyone still says he struggles now, like even at 155.
Yeah, he's probably going to come into the ring as a cruiserweight, I reckon, on the night.
Yeah,
crazy, isn't it?
That's got to be an IV. There's no, you can't hydrate that without IV, I don't think.
Yeah, I guess it's easier to do when you're younger, though, isn't it? And he's still a youngster, Canelo, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only 25, isn't he? He's younger than us.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Who are you picking in This is a hard fight to call, isn't it? Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Jazza Dickens. Who are you picking in that one? Yeah.
It's just Twilight Zone at the moment, isn't it?
Crazy.
These fights are being made. It's crazy. Yeah, I'll pick Rigondeaux, but yeah, I don't understand why the fight's happening, to be honest.
I wonder how much Frank Warren is paying him. You know, I wonder if Rigondeaux's just done it for nothing to try and get some momentum, or if Frank's really put down some hard money to get him in.
Oh yeah, he's already been stripped for inactivity, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's old as well, isn't he?
It's because it's obviously he's older than he's probably older than we think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, same with like Ortiz and that, but trying to think. He's probably just it's probably the fact that people think he's boring. Networks might not be interested as much anymore. Just I don't know. Well, yeah, like you said, money. I don't know how much he's getting paid. I don't know. He's not known for the biggest purses, is it?
No, that's turned into a decent card. I'm away that night, unfortunately, so I'm going to miss it. But Derry Matthews Flanagan, and then you've got Zolani Teti, you've got Rigondeaux Dickens, and I think there's 2 or 3 other fights on that bill as well. Like, that's turned into a wicked card.
Yeah, I like how Teti signed for Warren. I like things like that, like different fighters, different countries. And
yeah,
you can be a British premier, but you don't have to have just British fighters.
Yeah, he looked like a serious fighter against Paul Butler that night. He took Butler apart, I thought.
Yeah, I remember because it was one on the Wingy podcast. All of us picked Butler, I think.
Right.
We watched it and he just completely schooled him and knocked him out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, just battered round for round. What are you saying on Joshua's opponent then? Who would you like it to be, and who do you think it will be?
The name I keep hearing is just Takam. That's the one the contract's been sent to, apparently, is Takam.
Yeah, and you don't rate Takam, do you?
No, not really.
Yeah.
For his size, he's all right, I suppose.
Yeah.
Joshua's he's a big kid, and I don't know. And Takam's not exactly the most slick defensive, is he?
No.
He's all right. He's like he's got like your typical veteran style where he just knows what to do in the ring. That's pretty much Takam.
Yeah.
But I think they're just going to clash.
Yeah.
It'd be like two trains hitting each other, and one train's a lot bigger and a lot faster.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Takam doesn't have that much power either, but one thing I watched him fight. I've seen him fight a few times, like Mike Perez, Tony Thompson, etc. Obviously, Povetkin. And I thought against Tony Thompson, you know, he really came forward and was able to sort of. I know Tony Thompson is not the same kind of fighter as Joshua, but I just kind of feel the way to beat Joshua could be to take the reins away from him and sit on his chest and batter him relentlessly to his body. And I just wonder if Takam could have some success there. Don't get me wrong, I'd pick Joshua to win, but I don't think it would be I think it'd be a test.
Yeah, I do think I'm not like, as you know, I don't give Joshua the best praise, but I think he will beat him earlier on. I think, like I said, in 2 trains coming towards each other.
Yeah.
So Joshua's a bit more careful, but I think he doesn't. I don't think he wants to be hurt again.
Yeah.
I don't think he liked it. I think he's gonna really put it on him. He's better against smaller fighters, Joshua, as well. Because he does that very crouches down. When he gets you on the rope, he crouches down and really pounds into him. He's not. I don't see him as doing as well with tall fighters, though. But that's a different story. But
yeah.
With Takam, I've already got a good chin.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got a good chin, but then he got absolutely destroyed by one punch by Povetkin. Having said that, Povetkin is a huge puncher, probably a bigger puncher than Joshua at this stage.
It wasn't early on, it was later on, wasn't it?
I think it might have been 9th round, you know. I think a lot of the judges had it 4 rounds each at that point. You know, he was really doing quite well against Povetkin. I mean,
it's like Povetkin does struggle against guys, except for Perez, but a lot of time he does struggle against guys his similar height.
Yeah, I mean, Povetkin's such a hard fighter, isn't he?
Chambers, for example.
Yeah, and Marco Huck as well, you know. Like,
yeah, a lot of people think Huck won.
Yeah, I mean, I can't make up my mind if Povetkin is world class or beatable, you know.
Yeah, with Povetkin, there's always the aspect of the Russia drug thing, especially with the latest like reports of how much drugs are in Russian sports. We don't really know. And he's against Perez, he looks like twice as big as he does normally, literally twice as big. Ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
But he could just be whatever. It could just be weight training, but you never know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But it's interesting nonetheless. Interesting. Cool, Rob. You got anything else for me, or you done?
I better go make my missus there. So.
Sounds good. I'll let you crack on. Have a good one, mate. Thanks for calling in.
That's right, mate. I'll keep listening anyway. See you in a bit.
Cheers, Rob. See you later. Cheers. Thanks to Rob for calling in. Thanks to Sam for calling in earlier. Had a few new ads come through actually while I've been on the phone. I think I have 3 new ads. So yeah, somebody else, if you want to call in, now's a good time. Now we've got it free. While I'm waiting for someone else to call in, let's go jump back into the chat. Callum says Brook wanting GGG. Imagine if that happened. I don't see it. I don't see it somehow. Dragon Rider, Eddie Hearn isn't the type of guy to be down for too long. There are too many jumbo jets waiting to land. Yeah, Richie Arrow. If Wilder does dump the WBC belt to get the IBF, it'll mean he has to face his mandatories even more. The IBF are way stricter at enforcing them. Unless he then fights Fury for the unification, because the IBF won't be forcing a mandatory till January 2017, they've said. Callum says 2 of the worst heavyweight champions in recent history. I think he probably means Wilder and Martin there. TBE Seth, I'm afraid of Canelo cutting the ring off, which Sony's perfected. That'll be the biggest thing which makes Khan get tagged eventually. Yeah, because Amir Khan, for all of his great footwork offensively, he's not actually the hardest guy to close down on the back foot. I mean, we've seen it time and time again that he can be closed down. And I just look back at that Lamont Peterson fight and I see Lamont just gradually wearing him down and wearing him down and wearing him down. And, you know, if Lamont Peterson could do that, what's Canelo going to do to that? Oh, just had a Skype ad. I've accepted your ad, Curtis. So call in if you want to join in. Alex says, do you think old school fighters are overrated? I mean, where's the proof they were so much better? Yeah, I really do, Alex. And one thing that really annoys me is, you know, there's certain fighters that you can't even touch, can you? You know, like Sugar Ray Robinson. Like, I haven't seen Sugar Ray Robinson fight very much. We've all seen a few clips on YouTube, but none of us really know how good he was. Know he had a huge amount of wins. Know he fought a lot of times. He also had a few losses, moved up in weight a lot. But you get these names that are just, you often see the discussions on Facebook, like Tyson Fury versus, I don't know, Ray Mercer, who would win in a fight. And it always seems to be like, if you even dare to suggest a modern fighter, you're an idiot who knows nothing about boxing. Yeah, I think there's far too much emphasis on that. And the new breed of fighters, you know, the Tyson Furies, Floyd Mayweathers, the Rigondeaux, there's no reason with the advancements in sport that these guys couldn't be all-time greats. Rob says, you've been keeping up with Peter and Huey on Periscope. I haven't, no. I'm kind of not really on the Periscope bandwagon yet, I'm afraid. Callum says there was less ducking than there is today with the money involved and the O is valued more. Yeah, I'm sure that is the case, yeah. Kiwi 007 says, getting punched in the head doesn't change over the years. Yeah, there's been a lot of differences, though. I mean, for example, getting punched, to be honest, Kiwi, getting punched in the head does change over the years because gloves, you know, it's a huge difference. The impact, depending on what type of glove you're wearing, you know, or steroids, for example. If a fighter's on steroids and they've got 4 or 5 stone of extra muscle on them, yeah, you know, I mean, potentially there is differences, actually, in my opinion. Alex Heath says, how good do you think Dillian Whyte could potentially be? I'm really on the fence with Dillian Whyte. As you guys know, I picked him to beat Anthony Joshua, and I was really disappointed from his performance. You know, I felt he should have finished Joshua in the second round. I thought he was technically poor. His punches were very loose and wide, not very structured. His conditioning was poor. Yeah, if he sorts it out, I've got reason to believe Dillian Whyte can become a top 15 heavyweight. But I need to see a lot of improvements. For me, he was disappointing in that fight. Jonathan Williams, Tony Bellew went mad on drug cheats yesterday. Fury claimed Blab was juiced up for their fight too. If the boxers who know who is on peds, why don't they push more? Well, the truth is, I saw both of those interviews, Jonathan, and the truth is we don't know if Vladimir Klitschko is on peds. You know, there's reason to suspect that any fighter might be. They're so widespread in the sport, but you know, can only do what we can do. And clearly, like the people involved in providing these drugs and selling these drugs are, you know, they're sort of more advanced at the minute than the drug testers, it appears. Rob says really good camp sessions are being shown on Periscope. Okay, I'll have to try and check that out. I hear Huey's in a big camp at present. Tom says the thing is, we're so much better athletically these days that would make a huge difference. But if you think a lot of boxing wisdom hasn't been lost over the years, you're mad. Yeah, you're right, Tom. I mean, I look back at the old tapes and I think we are much better athletically. You know, we've got dietitians, nutritionalists, personal weight trainers. You know, there's so much of advancement in sports science and sports psychology. Yeah, as for boxing wisdom, it's funny. I was watching old videos of Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns the other day, and I do think boxing styles have evolved, actually. You know, there are new styles in the sport, and whether they're better or worse, that's not for me to say. Rob says Huey's looking very sharp and filling out too. That's good to hear. Gaz says the belts play second place to money. Yeah, they do. And to be honest, they've done that to themselves by having too many belts. Like all of these ridiculous WBA, regular, interim, diamonds, you know, whatever. It's made them less than the money. Beowulf Boxing says Dillian's conditioning cost him that fight. He gassed. It's what ultimately led to him getting lazy and KO'd. Yeah, but I think more than that, look, my personal opinion, and people think I'm a hater, but it is my opinion, so I'm going to say it. Top 10 heavyweight would have, if they'd have hurt Joshua in the second round, like Dillian Whyte did, they'd have taken him out. You know, if David Haye had hurt him, Joshua would have been finished. But Dillian let him off the hook due to his conditioning. Callum, how many true warriors are there today willing to fight anyone? I've got a caller. Bear with me for 1 second. Hello, mate. Who's that?
My name's John from London. From Birmingham.
You all right, John? How you getting on?
I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm good. I watch your channel for quite a while now. Always enjoyable, like the rest of them.
Oh, good stuff, mate. Appreciate that.
And discuss a few of the things you're talking about tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What's your opinion on the big happenings then?
I think Canelo. I think Khan sees what Mayweather did. I think he has a high opinion of himself, Khan, and rightly so, because he's mixed it in good company. You know, he's got fast hands, he can move, but always the question is over his chin, I think, Tom.
Yeah, I completely agree.
If Canelo lands on him, I think he's going to be a good night, to be honest. I don't think he'll be able to withstand it, but I don't think Canelo will come in as big as we probably expect, to be honest with you. I think I listened to Steve Burns talk about it, and he said he don't think he will come in that big, like the 170, 175, you know?
Yeah. What do you think? Because Khan is a smaller guy, he might try and focus more on speed and stuff?
Yeah, I think he just looks at that Mayweather fight and sees how Mayweather made him look pretty stupid.
Yeah.
It made him look ordinary. And I think, you know, with the new trainer, I think there's development there, and he knows and his trainer knows that if he gets tagged, he's going. And the way he talked about, Dwyer talked about the way he fought Garcia, and you know, for those opening rounds, he was scoring Garcia really in and out. What he does, bam, 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 in and out. But then he got caught. But Garcia's timing's so good.
No, I agree with you. I think he's looked at that Mayweather fight, and you know, he idolises Mayweather a bit, doesn't he? And he's kind of trying to work out if he can do the same thing. And unfortunately, I don't think he can, because I think he doesn't have the defense, he doesn't have the chin of Mayweather, and also I think Canelo is going to be a lot better because he's had the big fights since, he's had the big experience, and Canelo's not going to be so weight drained. So I think it's going to be. I agree with you. I think he's trying to follow that game plan, but I just don't think it's going to work out for him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think his ego takes him into that fight, really, to be honest. I think with the whole Brook situation, you know, ego was obviously playing a big part in that as well. I think he you know, and I'm not a massive Khan fan, you know, I appreciate his skills, and I like to watch him, you know, when he fought Maidana, it was, you know, up and down, wasn't it? And it was a fantastic fight, but there was, you know, towards the end of that fight, he was just running, and Maidana was just hunting him down, and that's my concern that'll happen in this fight, to be honest with you. I don't think his quick hands will save him unless he seriously sticks to that game plan, which he doesn't tend to do. You know, as we've seen in the past, he's gone in, he's done really well for the first couple of rounds, in and out with quick hands, and then he starts to get into that fight, doesn't he? He has that fighter's mentality where you want to get in the trenches, but unfortunately, as we've seen many times before, his chin can't stand it. No,
and Canelo's going to be a different level, isn't he? You know, like in terms of size, power, strength. You know, he's got to be on his bike this whole fight. He can't. If he finds himself with his back against the ropes even once, I think the fight's over.
Yeah, definitely. He can't stand there. We all know that he can't stand there. But you know, I know. But Mayweather wouldn't stay there, would he? Mayweather, he would be on his toes and would be around the ring, and I just think that has to happen for him. But he has to keep it up for 12 rounds, and whether he's got the concentration, or you know, or whether he's going to get stuck in as he tends to do, is a different matter altogether. But like so many people are saying, Eddie Hearn, one of them, saying that, you know, it's a win-win really for him, you know. And I think, you know, I don't always agree with what Eddie Hearn says, but I think he's right in the sense that if he fights Brook and loses, then where is he? You know, because I don't think the Americans rate Brook too highly anyway. But if he fights Canelo, who is seen as the man that's going to take over the pay-per-view boxing world and the boxing world in America, then, you know, if he loses, well, fair enough, he'll still fight Brook, he'll still get a big fight. If he wins, then he becomes on a different level altogether, doesn't he? And especially that weekend, it's like Mexican holiday weekend, isn't it? So
exactly, yeah.
It's going to be massive. It will be an absolutely huge fight, and he knows that, you know. So in a way, fair play for him to take it, but it was a surprise.
Yeah, fair play to him for taking it. And I think he's got the risk reward factor nailed. I mean, it might be slightly less money than Brook, but it'll probably be comparable. And I reckon the Brook fight, as you say, is still there. Whereas, you know, if he lost to Brook, the Canelo fight would definitely be gone, wouldn't it? So it's he's probably fighting it in the right order. Yeah. He's
worked out completely right, and he's a fan favourite in America as well. You know, he is, but he needs that defining huge fight, doesn't he? Which, and again, that's where his ego comes in. You know, he has a lot of belief in himself and a lot of belief in his, and he knows he can put bums on seats and sell pay-per-view. So it's in a way, it's kind of a logical fight, really. You know, he tried for Mayweather, he didn't get it. He tried for Pacquiao, he didn't get it. Then he's the next best option, isn't he? And he's going to step in a ring with Golovkin in a million years. So, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So I wonder when fighters move up in weight, if it takes a bit out of them that they have to move back down in weight afterwards. You know, and I hope that's not the case for Amir Khan, but he is a big guy, and I hope he's not going to struggle to get back down to 147. That's my only concern.
Yeah, he is a big guy, and he has got a big frame, and he is as tall if not taller than Canelo, possibly.
Yeah.
But I think it's a defining fight, really. And he's so inactive. You know, he doesn't fight enough. And if he's looking for a name, which he obviously is, he's just hunting down names, isn't it? You know, and the Garcia, the Bradley, the Thurman, you know, maybe he'll come back down for them afterwards. I don't know. Absolutely,
yeah, absolutely. No, it's going to be interesting. Definitely, it's going to be interesting. And I think his hope is that the real hope is that he can get Mayweather out of retirement. You know, if he can beat Canelo, and to be honest, he might be able to get Mayweather out of retirement if you know, if he were to pull this one off.
Yeah, it gives him more credibility towards Mayweather, and it puts, I think, public pressure on Mayweather as well. You know, Mayweather, when he was hunting him down last time, it was quite easy for Mayweather to say, well, who before, what he'd done. You know, it was easy for him to do it. If he fights Canelo, then it's a different matter altogether, isn't it? But then I don't think Mayweather will come out of retirement. I think he's done that, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I still haven't quite made my mind up on that. Part of me thinks, you know, this Mexican weekend, Cinco de Mayo, I think it's called, such a big thing. I'm wondering if Mayweather may still come out of retirement for this weekend and maybe take on Khan versus Canelo by, you know, Mayweather Garcia or something like that, and try and steal the night. You know, that would be it'd be unfortunate if they were on the same night, but it'd be interesting to see who fans would go for.
Yeah, I think, I suppose it'd be a net worth thing, wouldn't it, really? Do you know what I mean? Because if one network have got it for a pay-per-view, they won't affect their pay-per-views, etc., etc. So, you know, I think Mayweather's in the UK this week, you know, so...
Yeah, I've heard that.
He's used to touring around, isn't he, now? I think he's taking his whole business world and elevating himself almost like an ambassador, like scenario sort of thing.
Absolutely. No, it sounds good, mate. Sounds good. Do you want to talk about any of the other topics? Or are you? Yeah. So let's just briefly let's go with Anthony Joshua then. Who do you reckon they're going to announce as his opponent, and who would you like it to be?
It's a tough one, I think, with Anthony Joshua because, you know, we've hyped him so much, and everyone, and I jumped on that hype train. I must be honest, because, you know, he did look invincible.
Absolutely.
Up until, you know, Dillian White, and then Dillian White exposed him a little bit, and we saw him, you know, hurt. We saw him flustered. Now, he said that he was fighting on heart and not with his head, which, yeah, I could imagine that would happen because of the hype around the fight. But we did see him, you know, that robotic, athletic, unstoppable machine. All of a sudden, we saw a little clink there, and we saw that he could be hurt. But saying that, looking at the people around him, really, do we see anyone that can possibly test him unless he goes to the elite level? And I don't think we'll ever know how really good he is until he gets to that elite level. I think if you put him, if he gets through to Charles Martin within, 2 fights?
Yeah.
It's that thing of saying, well, where's he going to go? What's he going to do?
You're right.
You know, then he's got to fight Wilder, hasn't he? Then he's got to fight Povetkin. Then he's got to fight Tyson Fury because he's at the top of the bill. And I don't think they want to rush him because I think they probably watched that fight and thought, oh, hold on a minute, you know. Because, again, I would imagine Eddie Hearn and Sims still didn't know how good he was, you know. And I think the test with Dillian White made them possibly think, let's just hold the brakes a little bit and let's just give him a few more. And I think they'll probably be looking at, you know, 2-3 fights till they actually get to that point, I reckon.
Yeah. No, I can see that. And he still hasn't had those tough learning fights yet.
No.
I mean, the Dillian White fight was a bit of a learning fight, but it was still only 7 rounds, you know. Dillian White was inactive.
Remembering where Dillian White was and is, you know, he's not an elite fighter.
No.
He's a good fighter, but he's not an elite fighter. He hasn't been really tested or anything like that. So he puts him in the ring with that, and that's what they're thinking. He's still at the same sort of level. Dillian White still, but he caused him problems. And that's got to ring a few alarm bells to think, well, hold on a minute, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
As good as we think he is. I still don't know how good he is. I really don't. I saw him get into a scrap. I saw him go into later rounds, and I saw him take some punishment. But, you know, how good is he? How would he fare against Povetkin? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't think it would be fair for him to have those tests until he'd have the 12 rounders first, and, you know, have those sort of educational fights against maybe the Jenningses and Steverns and Takams.
Well, I think if he won the IBF title, for instance, within 2 fights, then he's going to be in a Deontay Wilder position, where I think Deontay Wilder was almost elevated into that world championship status. You know, even though he'd had a lot of fights quite quickly, really, because he'd been knocking people out. So he'd not been the rounds, he'd not been able to use his boxing skills, etc., etc. And so what they're doing with Deontay Wilder is that they're giving him easier opponents, really. I think they're sort of cherry picking for him to give him that experience that he should have gained before he became world champion. And I think that's what would happen with Anthony Joshua. If he became world champion, then people would say, right, you've got to fight David Haye now, you've got to fight Deontay Wilder, you've got to fight Klitschko, you've got, you know, and I think, and that's when the worry comes that he could lose the belt quite quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want to learn on the job as a heavyweight world champion.
Then the public would be moaning and saying, why is he not fighting these people?
Yeah, and I don't think we will take it like the Americans have done with Deontay Wilder, to be honest. I think.
No, it'd be a bad move if they did.
Yeah. John, I must crack on, mate. I must crack on. But really good call. Thanks very much for getting involved, and agree with pretty much everything you say.
Yeah, I'll speak to you next time.
Cheers, pal. Thanks for joining in. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye. Oh, we're not doing too bad for callers tonight. Yeah. Good call after good call after good call. A lot of really knowledgeable boxing fans calling the time. Alex, was there a problem with the sound there, mate? Could you what's the sound quality like, everyone? Could you hear everything? Kiwi says he's honestly not thinking about money. Parker AJ would be a great test for both. Hearn is not interested. Yeah, I wouldn't go for that one, Kiwi, mate. I really wouldn't. I would leave it. You know, the fight's going to get bigger. Both of them need learning fights soon. Sharif says my number. It's on Skype, Sharif. So add me on Skype, boxing.gossip, and you can call in. Jet, any chance I can call in? Of course you can, Jet. Always welcome. Give us a call now. You've been getting some praise from the other boxing fans today, Jet. So, yeah, eager to get you back on. Callum says he hopes it doesn't happen. He's a huge fan of Parker. I want to see this fight in 2 years' time. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Parker is necessarily doing himself justice if he has this fight right now. You know, you don't want to look back on it and say he took the fight too early and, you know, for the chance to be gone. I think Parker would maybe do better. Jet's calling in. Hello, Jet. How you doing, mate?
You all right, mate?
Very, very good. How you getting on?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just got back from university, had some food, thought I'd tune in as usual.
Good stuff. You were getting some praise in the chat earlier.
Yeah, I heard. My cousin he just took a picture and messaged me and whatnot. So
oh, nice.
It was good. Why not? I'm trying to start my own channel with him as sort of Ryan and Addy sort of.
Oh, nice.
See if I can get some people in. If anyone would be interested, maybe just do like a chat show sort of.
Yeah. Have you set it up already, or?
Trying to get into the groove of things. I'm a bit backed up with uni at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm working on things. I go around to my cousin's house pretty regularly. We were planning to watch the Frampton Quigg fight together, but unfortunately, one of my other cousins is getting married soon. So
okay.
He's going to have a couple of drinks with him. So yeah, let's get cracking. Anyway, I've just seen the card, Canelo, Rigo, AJ opponents. What do you think about Rigo coming to the UK facing British champion Jazzy Dickens, I think it is? Yeah, mate,
I think it's crazy. I can only assume what happened is Rigo was getting absolutely nowhere. I know Frank Warren made some effort to get him involved years ago, But I can only assume Rigo was getting absolutely nowhere. You know, he lost his belt due to inactivity. Let's be honest, he's getting older and older and older every day. He's not earned much money in terms of superstar money. And I can only assume he's gone back to Frank and said, look, just get me out, get me active. I won't be so fussy on money because, you know, this is a Derry Matthews undercard. This isn't going to be a huge payday. And, you know, Frank's already got big, you know, he's got Zolani Teti on that belt to pay, Terry Flanagan obviously to pay. So to be fair, obviously it's not a competitive fight, but fair play to Rigo for taking it and fair play to Frank for organising it. What do you reckon?
No, it's a good fight. I think Rigo, you know, obviously everyone knows who Rigo is. As in the hardcore boxing fans such as ourselves.
Yeah.
He's a massive guy, obviously. You know, he's not a paid-in fighter or anything. You know, I think what it is to set up the WBA mandated fight between the winner, Bantam Quigg, and obviously the winner has to face Rigo by a certain time. But the problem with that is either one of them is going to have to drop the belt anyway because IBF have already enforced a 90-day clause on Bantam Quigg winner to face Shingo Week. So it's tough. I mean, Rigo's coming here obviously to get some publicity and that sort of stuff, but it was good for him. I think it's good in the States. I mean, he's not getting anything in the States, let's be honest. Top Rank don't want anything to do with him after he destroyed the Nair. You know, all the broadcasters, HBO, Showtime, they think he's, you know, boring, which I can understand. Personally, I like Lomachenko better, but at least his style is a bit more fan-friendly and pleasing, but, you know, that's just my opinion. What do you think about that fight? Lomachenko, Rigo, maybe at catchweight. Although I hate catchweights, but you know.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that one again. Actually, I really rate Lomachenko, and I find them. I know they're both sort of hugely sophisticated amateur technicians, but I think Lomachenko is a much more entertaining fighter to watch. And I actually see, I probably get stick for this. I see some similarities with Lomachenko as I see with like a Billy Joe Saunders or a Joe Calzaghe, you know, very high volume, very slick, you know, real excellent movement, very fast. And I just view him as a more entertaining fighter than Rigondeaux. Now, you know, Rigondeaux appears to be slightly more like the Floyd Mayweather type mold, you know, defensively orientated, quite low volume, but when he throws punches, you know, very, very high quality. My personal opinion is Rigondeaux did such a good job against Donaire that he's kind of been avoided ever since. And as a result, we haven't seen him in the full tests that he could have been in. And, you know, we've seen him down in fights. We've seen him maybe hurt in fights. And this guy is not a young guy. You know, I don't know how old he is, but he's an older guy who's getting older by the day. I'd actually be inclined to side with Lomachenko if they did ever fight, but to be honest, I don't think they will ever fight because I think there's too much interest in Lomachenko's career from the promotional side. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Vasil would win. I think he does a bit more. I think he's more suited to the professional game. He's more technically refined. I think in the professional game, you see a lot of amateurs that step up to the professional ranks and they're very much like Rigondeaux, obviously not the skills that he has, but if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're more just they're just better as pros. They progress better as pros. I think Lomachenko with his high volume, he's not got terrible power. He's not got like one punch knockout power. He's got respectable power. I think he will get your attention. So like he has taken a few guys out. Obviously he hurt Salido. Salido's a warrior. We all know that. So. He's got respectable power. I'd be inclined to go with Lomachenko if that fight ever did occur, which I don't think it will. It's very unlikely. But sticking with the super bantamweights, I don't know if you've heard, Gavin McDonald's got a fight or eliminated for the WBC title.
No, I hadn't heard that.
The champion is Julio Ceja, the guy who his Jamie's brother beat at bantamweight for the IBF bantamweight title when he got stripped. So I don't know who he's fighting, to be honest, but you think Gavin can pick up a world title? Bear in mind, I think Jamie's much better than him. But what's your opinion on Gavin McDonald?
Yeah, Gavin McDonald is not a fighter I have found overly entertaining over the years. And this is going to sound really, really cruel. I don't want it to, but I view him as very, very similar to his brother, stylistically, but just clearly not as good. And it's that if I want to watch a bit of McDonald, I'd rather watch Jamie any day of the week, because they do the same thing. Just Jamie is a sort of better fighter. Gavin, not too much power, not too much speed, not the best punch variety, and there's just a sense that it's like he's not in the most entertaining fights, and he's quite beatable. He has improved, I must say. He's improved. He's been in some better fights, and you can see that. I think he took a long time out of the game, didn't he? And you can see he's working on things and improving nicely. But yeah, I mean, I must admit, whilst I'm not an expert on that division at all, I've never really viewed him as a world title level fighter myself.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be inclined to say he's a fringe world level sort of operator, just above European level.
Yeah.
It doesn't really interest me whatsoever. I think me and my cousin were watching the fight with Parodi. We were watching it live on Sky Sports. We were just like, what is he doing? Like, Jamie's just so much better than him. We were just laughing at how bad he was. It was just so bad. Yeah, let's move on. Canelo, obviously, we've had so much news about Canelo, but interesting news. I don't know if you've heard it. Eddie Hearn said today that Kell Brook asked him to get Golovkin at 155. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's very limited options for Kell Brook, aren't there? Because, who are the real big fights Kell Brook could have? Well, let's look at it. I mean, you've got Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley. Obviously, those guys are fighting each other. So the winner of that may not be available for some time.
Yeah.
Same situation with Thurman Porter. Danny Garcia.
Would Porter would even want a rematch with him after, I think, Brook beat him pretty handily last time. So
yeah, I mean, I get the impression Porter would. Porter seems to be quite an aggressive guy who likes the big fights. But yeah, I take your point. I mean, I think Thurman would probably. I'm picking Porter for that fight, but I think Thurman would probably be the favourite. So certainly, if Thurman was to be successful, Thurman Brook would be big. And the other one is Danny Garcia. But I still got a sneaking suspicion it may be Mayweather Garcia in May. So, that's interesting. But all of those big fights at 147, none of those guys are coming to the UK. None of those guys are going to be filling out UK stadiums and UK pay-per-views. If you look at the division above 154, there aren't really mega fights for Brook there either. So he's in a real difficult spot, and his decision to sort of be with Eddie Hearn and not PBC and Al Heyman has really put him in trouble in terms of the big fights. And now this Amir Khan fight's gone, I can see why he's struggling and panicking, because he's not earned the big money yet, and he's not been in the big fights yet and career-defining fights. And Golovkin is desperate for an opponent. Is searching high and low. And if Kell were to beat him, obviously Kell Brook would be a lot of people's pound for pound number one. So I can see why he's considering it, but it's a stupid fight, isn't it? I mean, there's no way that would be the right way to manage Kell Brook.
He's ignorant of his title, which I think Matchroom and Hearn are desperate to keep hold of.
Yeah.
It gives him some sort of value to Kell Brook that, okay, look, he's a world champion. And if he has a viable something to bring to the table, if anything, that is the IBF title. But apart from that, I mean, there's nowhere else for him to go. There's no one else. Like, would Broner come up to 147 again after he already holds a version of a world title for WBA at 140? Would he want to come up? There's no point. There's no reward in it for him. He's already a four-weight world champion.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah.
No point. All the guys at 140, they've either just entered 140 or they're reigning supreme at 140. Victor Postol's just won his title, WBC. Crawford is obviously at 2 defenses. He's facing Hank Lundy next. And Troy obviously just won his title against Cuenca. So none of them guys are actually going to step up, and none of no one else is really going to step down. Charlotte Brown's too big. Laura's mandated to fight Cotto for the WBA super title or whatever you want to call it. WBC has been for Jamel Charlo, the Charlo IBF brother, and Andrade. None of them were stepped down, so Kell Brook's out of options basically.
This is what it is, yeah.
It's difficult for him. I think it's a promotional issue more than anything, because he's not been able to. Hearn's not been able to match him in the way that he was prior to the Porter fight, and even after the Porter fight. Okay, you get the stabbing, I understand that, but Jojo Can, okay, mandatory. BCA is a mandatory fight as well, but then. Frankie Gavin on a pay-per-view show and he's headlining the card, really. Like, you have to put some of the. I like Eddie Hearn, but you have to put some of the blame at his doorstep. It's unacceptable the fight Brooks game, like compared to Khan. Okay, Khan's been inactive, but he's got Canelo. Like, the Joker in the pack. Ridiculous. Like, to think that Brooks fighting Busy and he's fighting Canelo, couldn't be more miles apart. Like, even if you tried, it's just. What else can you do? And then AJ, our good old friend Andy Joshua. I saw some comments saying something about White, and I saw all the stuff about Parker and Joshua. How do you think Parker and Joshua would come out? Like, how do you think it will play out?
I see it as such a close fight. I think. See, my instinct, right, is that if Anthony Joshua doesn't improve, and this is a big comment, but if he doesn't improve from that Dillian White fight, I don't think Parker would let him off the hook like Anthony Joshua did. I think Parker would have the athleticism, the hand speed, and the conditioning to have closed the show in that second round. I genuinely view Anthony Joshua as a bit of a zombie in that second round who was there to be taken. I think Augusta Wind could have almost blown him over in that second round. And I think Dillian White just couldn't find the punch because he was too exhausted and too out of condition to do it. So part of me thinks Joshua is very, very vulnerable. The first time he stepped up in class, the first time he's had a real test, he's been in that shape. Having said that, Joseph Parker then came out and, to be honest, put in arguably a career worst performance against Jason Bergman. And let's be honest, Jason Bergman is even lower level than any of these other fighters we're talking about. And Parker in that fight struggled to deal with stance. He struggled to close the show. Both guys, this is the thing, both of these guys are being talked about as top level fighters, but they're both very early prospects. For me, they're both 5, 6, 7 fights away from the world title, but due to their commercial value, it probably won't end up being like that. But I find it tough to call. If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably still side with Joseph Parker, really. I just think Joshua is there to be hit, and he's defensively frail, and Joshua certainly has big power. Sorry, Parker certainly has big power, is what I'm saying. What are you thinking if that one got made?
Parker all day. I think Parker beats him. Me and my cousin always have this debate, and even he's a big AJ fan, and he thinks Parker's going to beat him. And he thinks Parker's just a bit more athletic, probably jab out with a bit more snap. He's a bit more loose, elastic. He's just a bit more natural.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
AJ just really robotic. Just no head movement. His feet are slow. Like, I understand why people get hyped about AJ. Don't get me wrong, and it's hard for me to say because obviously I'm never gonna ever win an Olympic gold medalist. Be an Olympic gold medalist. But against Savon, he got schooled against Savon, and like it's tough. It's tough to say. I can see what the hype is about, but when it comes to actual boxing skills, I can't see it because he hasn't. Compared to the elite prospects, Hughie Fury, Joseph Parker, and any other elite prospects, maybe not like Andrew Ruiz or anyone like that, but those two prospects in particular, he can't hold a candle to them. Like, because in terms of boxing skills, he's just not good enough.
Yeah,
too upright. he reminds me a lot of someone like Callum Smith. Callum Smith,
Yeah,
good puncher. You know, he's got decent power. He took out Rocky Fielding. Obviously, a grudge match with him and Rocky and Dillian White and Joshua. But in terms of how their style, they're very good amateurs, but very, very, very robotic. It's almost pain to watch. It's like, come on, move your body. Like, that's what I'm saying. Callum Smith, he has a final eliminator coming up in April, and obviously the winner is mandated to fight Paddy Jack, Chavez Jr. winner. But even then, could he compete at that level with his deficiencies?
No.
Tough, and they're talking about a George Groves fight. I think Groves will knock him out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I think that I think he'll win that. He'll beat that Muhammad Ali who he's fighting.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Yeah. At this point, I'd pick Badou Jack to beat Callum Smith. I do think there's more reason to rush Callum Smith, though, than Anthony Joshua. Because I think with Callum Smith, the problem is that he can't make that weight and he's getting too old. And they're going to have to move him up in weight. Whereas with Joshua, they don't have that excuse. You know, you're right. Joshua reminds me a lot of a Frank Bruno type fighter. You know, he's that bodybuilder physique. I've got severe questions over stamina. I've got severe questions over punch resistance and, you know, durability and that sort of thing. And he's got a lot to learn from me. I agree. He's not as fluid as a Huey or a Joseph Parker, and that's a big negative for me.
Yeah. What do you think? Speaking of Fury, I saw your video the other day or earlier, and it was about David Haye and not hearing about Huey Fury and, you know, just making up a bunch of lies. Do you think he's lying, or do you think he's actually being serious, or is this smoke and mirrors and he's trying to play mind games with Team Fury and, you know, other people?
He's trying to play mind games with Fury. I mean, in the same interview, he said that, you know, the gyms would rather have a photo of Joshua than Fury up. I mean, look, David Haye showed in that interview he's actually got some decent heavyweight knowledge. You know, he was talking about, you know, Joshua should bring in Dimitrenko for sparring because Dimitrenko would be a good tall guy and show him something a bit different and be a bit durable. You know, like that was quite an educated comment from David Haye. He clearly knows heavyweight boxing. I mean, the average bloke on the street wouldn't know who Dimitrenko was. And then he said that he'd never heard of Huey Fury. And when the interviewer said that he was a 17-0 heavyweight, you know, David Haye looked amazed. I mean, it was clearly just an insult to the Fury camp for me. It's impossible not to have heard of Huey Fury, surely.
Yeah, it does seem like smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Especially if you hear, okay, speaking of your list that you're talking, Dimitrenko is probably the least known because Carlos Takam has been in with Povetkin and Mike Perez.
Yeah.
So you would have heard of him, fair enough. But and who's the other?
He said he'd never heard of Charles Martin in Glasgow either.
Charles Martin, maybe I can understand because he's been beating up on, you know, top fighters.
Yeah.
So that's a bit more believable. But even then, you would think, oh, Charles Martin, American prospect. You know, people were talking about him. Even me and my cousin were talking about him. We were like, Charles Martin, you heard of this guy? He's tall, southpaw, 6'5", American dude. And then obviously he checked him out and he was just like, he doesn't look great, he looks average. I was like, yeah, well, that's what they're saying in America, big prospect. But Glasgow, you know, Olympic gold medalist or silver medalist or whatever he was, I can't remember off the top of my head. But, you know, you would know Glasgow, he's been in with Steve Cunningham, Malik Scott, Thomas Ademic.
Yeah, I mean, Hayes rumoured to fight Malik Scott next.
You know what I mean? He's been
Yeah.
You would know. So.
Yeah. What's funny is Hay had heard of Mark Demori, you know.
Yeah.
This is.
I was a bit shocked at that.
Yeah. So yeah, he's going to fight Malik Scott next, I reckon. So he's heard of Malik Scott, but he hasn't heard of Glasgow, even though Glasgow fought Malik Scott. You know, someone made a good point, which is that Anthony Joshua may fight Charles Martin, and David Haye was probably trying to devalue that by, you know, saying he'd never heard of either Glasgow or Martin, you know. But interesting stuff, isn't it? But David Haye's certainly a character, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he likes the limelight. He's one of the people I think he likes the limelight. Maybe one of the reasons he came back for that, because AJ is a poster boy, I think, when he stepped up from when he became unified cruiserweight champion. and then he stepped up to heavyweight one or heavyweight one title. Of course, he wanted to unify the titles, but he was the poster boy there when he moved up and he was knocking people out. You know, big heavyweights. Obviously, he was cutting a load of weight. Obviously, as we know.
Yeah.
And he was still knocking people out. So obviously, ferocious power. We all know him. He's called Haymaker for a reason. But he's one of the people. He's like he's very arrogant. He loves himself a lot. And, you know, it's not nice to see. That's the boxing. That's part of boxing. We don't want to see all, you know. But I think that's the thing that makes boxing, that we have that characters like him, and you know, it always entertains us in one way or another. That's why I think all the casuals love him. You know,
absolutely.
That's why he was always harping on about, oh, I'm gonna knock Klitschko out. He used to have the T-shirts with, you know, the Klitschko brothers' heads. I'm gonna take both of them out, and people used to lap it up because you need characters like that. I think in British boxing, you know, let alone world boxing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's good to have him back for that reason. But yeah, Jet, I must run, mate. I must run. I must been rambling on for too long tonight. But you know, really appreciate you calling in as always.
No worries, mate. I'll catch up with you soon.
Catch up soon. And Jet, let me know if you set up your channel. I'll tweet it out or something for you.
Okay, cheers, man.
Cheers, man.
I'll keep you. I'll give you the lowdown on Twitter.
Yeah. Catch you soon. Cheers, mate. Bye. Cool. Thanks to Jet for calling in. We've done well on the callers tonight. We've done actually better on a Thursday night than we usually do on a Saturday. So yeah, it's good news. And as I say, I'm going to keep this more regularly on the Thursday night now, because to be honest, it's causing me too much grief with the missus to be doing these on the Saturdays, when I spend half of the Saturday afternoons doing these shows, and then the most of the evening actually what's in the fight. So yeah, a lot of chat there's a lot of chat going on about David Haye not having heard of Hughie Fury. Kiwi 007 sums it up. He goes, mate, I live 14,000 miles away and I know who Hughie is. The guy is just yanking the chain. Yeah. Listen, guys, I've been going now for an hour 50 minutes. I'm pretty starving, to be honest. I went to the gym just before we started doing this and I haven't eaten since. So I need to get some grub down me before I hit the hay tonight. And look, I really appreciate everyone who's tuned in and you know, commented, got involved, or even if you just stayed quiet and watched tonight. You know, it's been good fun, good conversation. So thanks to everyone very much for joining in. You know, pleasure as always. We're going to keep these running on Thursday nights, so if it works for you, stay tuned. Luke says that he's enjoyed it. Good, so thanks very much, Luke. Kiwi says this is great. Still sitting here, good stuff, good entertainment. Well done, lads. Escobeat says good. So thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate it. TBE Seth says everyone give the thumbs up. Yes, please give me the thumbs up. Really appreciate that, guys. Jet says great. So as always, mate. Thanks a lot, Jet. Escobeat says take care. Yeah, likewise, mate. All the best. Sarif says last question. If Khan takes fight against Canelo, why will he not to Triple G? Maybe he will to Triple G. Maybe he will. I think Triple G will want to fight at 160, which may be too much. But you know, I wouldn't rule it out. Khan's got a set of balls on him. Elaine says he's missed it, but great channel, man. Thanks very much, Elaine. Thanks for tuning in. Jonathan says top job, pal. Callum says easy all. Jet says Thursday shows are great, and Rob's going to ring in again. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. If you've enjoyed it, do give me the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, do hit the subscribe button. Remember, I advertise these shows in 3 ways. I tweet it out, I put it up on my Facebook, and I put it up on the channel so that subscribers can see it's going to happen in advance. So, yeah, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. You won't miss out. Gaz says he always enjoys the live shows, and Sharif said he really enjoyed it. I really appreciate all the positive feedback, guys. Far more entertainment. Yeah, I'll go for 8 o'clock on Thursdays. That's the plan going forward. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. Sharif says thanks for the show. Thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good one. Good evening, everyone.